So Professor Waqar, allow me to start.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you, Professor Waqar. Thanks all. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, salam alaikum, colleagues, wherever you are. It's our pleasure to welcome you in our second professional development certificate, Embracing Contemporary Teaching and Learning Paradigms, as part of Abu Dhabi University EDU2030 Future of Education series, in association with the Regional Center for Educational Planning, UNESCO. Allow me first to introduce and welcome Ms. Mahra Al-Mutawi, the Director of the Regional Center of Educational Planning, UNESCO, and Professor Waqar Ahmed, EDU Abu Dhabi University Chancellor. I will handle it over to Professor Waqar to welcome you all.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Dr. Fateh, and welcome everybody to the first in this current series of Future of Education. Your Excellency, Ms. Mara, a particular welcome to you. Welcome also to Dean Sreethi and the Campus Director, Dr. Hamad Udabi, who is the father of this particular initiative, investing in our community, Dr. Mohammed Fateh, distinguished guests and participants. As Dr. Fateh has introduced, I have the privilege of being the Chancellor of Abu Dhabi University and welcoming you to this series. We are, of course, in the midst of a worldwide pandemic. It's not of our choosing, and our fight against it is far from over, as you would know. Yet we will overcome this crisis, we will learn from it, and be better prepared for the future. The impact of the pandemic is wide-ranging. In many areas, the impact has been devastating, destroying businesses and livelihoods, testing relationships and loyalties, imposing burdens on physical and mental health, and of course, causing around 2 million deaths, including about 800 here in the UAE. The impact on economy and society is great and will be felt for some time to come. Against this, the pandemic has required us to think innovatively, do things differently, adopt and adapt. For about a year now, we here at Abu Dhabi University have been working remotely and engaging in distance education. And I don't believe that when we get over Corona, that life is going to go back to the old normal. The way we educate and assess will be different. Hybrid provision will be more of a norm than before. Assessment will take forms that will benefit teachers and learners. And for the better, I believe. For Abu Dhabi University, it will open opportunities to reach out to new postgraduate markets, engage with undergraduates differently, and to enable education to be offered to non-traditional learners. Collaboration in research across continents is already the norm for many of my colleagues here at the university. Now, we will seize the opportunity to collaborate in teaching remotely. The first such program is being submitted for accreditation in partnership at Arizona State University to the local accrediting body, the Commission for Academic Accreditation. And we will build on what we are going to, what we are doing to reach out to our stakeholder communities already resting on our virtual platforms. And these experiences are not going to be unique to us. I think they're going to face you and your colleagues as you move forward. As a university, our commitment isn't only to great education, research that makes a difference, collaboration with industry and other HEIs, and fantastic student experience. We are of the UAE. We want to put something back into the community beyond the traditional engagement. We therefore launched this Investing in Our Community virtual platform last year. Since then, over 8,000, indeed now close to 9,000 participants, from high school children to parents, graduate students, professionals, and senior leaders like yourselves have benefited from our offerings or are registered for sessions or programs which are to take place. And participants not only come from the UAE, but across the Arab regions and increasingly further afield, including as far away as Australia, New Zealand, and North America. The certificate program we're launching today is second in a series focusing on education. The first focus on scholarship. This is casting our gaze over the next coming 2 decades. It's a pleasure for me to acknowledge the leadership that Dr. Hamad Udabi has provided to the Investing in Our Community initiative, and I'm pleased that he's with us today. And he has enjoyed the support of many administrative colleagues and IT colleagues. And indeed, he's enjoyed the support of dozens of my colleagues from all our colleges across a range of disciplines who have so enthusiastically offered sessions on top of their day jobs. Indeed, one of Dr. Hamad's big problems is how to turn down offers of sessions from colleagues gently. For this launch session, it is our privilege to welcome Her Excellency Mahra Hilal Mutaawi, the Director of the Regional Center for Educational Planning for UNESCO. A quick search on Google will show you that she is a busy and influential educationist in and beyond the UAE. Your Excellency, thank you for supporting this initiative and sparing the time to be with us. I would also like to reiterate my thanks to Dean Dr. Sreethi. The sessions predominantly are going to be coming from her college, and especially Dr. Munfatea, who is directing this specific certificate program. Dr. Fatea, thank you for the privilege to speak to colleagues for a few minutes, and I'm very pleased to hand back to you now.
Thank you, Professor Waqar, for those highlights. And we are really proud and happy. What's behind our success is we having a great leaders at Abu Dhabi University. Thank you for the highlights, and I'm sure it will also impact the whole session. Her Excellency Mahra Al-Mutawi is the Director of the Regional Center for Educational Planning, UNESCO. She's a leading expert in the educational planning, management, and policy development in the UAE, GCC, and Arab countries, and internationally. In addition to her activities as a quality evaluator, Her Excellency is the UAE representative in the Higher International Steering Committee concerned with the 4 Sustainable Developmental Goals and Education 2030, as well as the Education Advisory Committee at the UNESCO. Your Excellency, Mahra Al-Mutawi, please.
Dear all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Waqar and Education College in Abu Dhabi University to give us this honor and this chance to cooperate with them in this series. I am honored to be speaking to you today as a Director of Regional Center for Education Planning, also known as RCEP. RCEP was established in accordance with the agreement signed between the government of UAE and UNESCO in 2003. The center works to support capacity development of education sector-wide policy and planning in the Ministries of Education with practical focus in Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC countries, and also Arab states. We also work closely to support meeting SDG, especially SDG 4 goals, Education 2030, which parents to access to quality education by the year 2030. RCEP also work as a technical extension for the UNESCO in the region through the engagement in activities that strengthen educational planning. Linked to the meeting, SDG 4, one of RCEP's key strategic goal is to provide professional development opportunity such as this one, that are not only key to the development of the education quality, but also to the strength to the community as a whole. The education environment has been constantly changing over the past decade, several decades. And now we have witnessed shift faster than ever due to the pandemic of COVID-19. Teacher, principal, policymakers, as well as students have to adapt rapidly to the teaching and learning shifting that the pandemic has brought. And even after it's over, we will continue witness those changes also. In many countries, including the UAE, most of school learning was shifted online during the pandemic. Teachers have played an invaluable role in ensuring the continuity of the learning for their students during the pandemic. It's our hope that this training provides teachers with additional new strategy and professional development tools to support them in their essential work with their students. Many elements are shaping future of learning and teaching. This certificate in practically covers three key areas: technology that are already allowing students to learn at different times and different places; project-based paradigm learning as career adapting to the future economy. More students today will adopt project-based learning ethics and will become more and more involved in formulating their curricula. Mentorship will therefore become key in the journey of learning and fundamental to student success as they incorporate more independently in their learning process. Here in UAE, the Ministry of Education consistently seeking to define the future of education as part of its effort to produce a generation aware of what life requires in the future and how to keep pace with its development. As such, RECEP is proud to support this series and others as practical fulfillment of the requirement of building knowledge-based economy in the UAE. And to support its sustainable development, this STEAM form of strong educational vision by the Ministry of Education based on the firmly established value derived from the federal government vision. And it is strength, strategic planning, organization structure, and development project to achieve Vision 22 and the UAE Centennial 2071. We look forward to learning from the professionals, professor in their workshop, and we wish to the attendees all the best in what they will and what they're about to impact in this workshop.
Thanks a lot, Your Excellency, Ms. Mahra, for the great support and for highlighting the importance of collaboration between the regional center and Abu Dhabi University and the importance of such initiatives. So it's really appreciated. Thank you for that highlight. Before starting our program and for a successful completion of the certificate, kindly be informed that the following guidelines are ensured that you comply with them. Those guidelines will be also posted on the chat and it's available on our community board, Abu Dhabi University community portal. Certificate of completion, participants who submit the final modular reflection will receive a completion certificate. Participants who choose not to submit the final modular reflection will receive an attendance certificate. Those choosing to submit modular reflection, the deadline will be 7th February 2021, 11:59 p.m. Abu Dhabi, the UAE timing. During the professional development sessions, we will be using the Mentimeter app in order to join the interactive activities in all sessions. You will be provided with a barcode or a number code that at the beginning of each session, you should scan or enter using your mobile phone. And we will remind you with this whenever it's needed. You have access to translation during the session to different languages. Kindly download the Microsoft Translate and our IT team will provide you with the code accordingly. During the session, you can write your comments in the chat box and you can use the Q&A options in both Mentimeter and or Zoom to ask any question related to the topic and to present, and the presenter will answer those questions accordingly. You can also use the raise hand button on Zoom in case you want to speak. Wishing you all a great learning journey with us. To start our program during the Embracing Contemporary Teaching and Learning Paradigm Professional Development Certificate, 5 modules that we will cover are learning and teaching for future purposes, innovation in teaching and learning, developing and teaching in an effective lesson, students' engagement in diverse class settings, and designing and evaluating assessment. Allow me to welcome our Dean, Dr. Sreethi Nair, the Dean of College of Arts and Science at Abu Dhabi University, to present the first module in the certificate, Learning and Teaching for Future Purposes. Dr. Sreethi Nair leads varying programs in the field of arts and science, which include math, statistics, applied sciences, education, mass communication, general education, first-year experience. Dr. Nair joined Abu Dhabi University in 2007 as an assistant professor of psychology. She works toward the enhancement of the student's success, first-year experience, future work skill competencies, and academic supports offered by College of Arts and Science at Abu Dhabi University. She believes that it is very essential to help students developing knowledge, skills, and competencies in various aspects of education to be able to adapt to various educational and future work requirements. She adhered to the fact that success of students is highly related to the educator and faculty development, thus working toward faculty support and professional development in teaching and learning. Welcome with me, Dr. Sreethi, in her first module.
Thank you, Dr. Fateha. Let me start with wearing the hat of the Dean of College of Arts and Science first. I specifically thank Ms. Marwa for being a holistic part of this program and encouraging us to do more events of this form. Thank you so much, Ms. Marwa, for your attendance and collaboration with Abu Dhabi University. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank Professor Waqar Ahmed, our Honor Chancellor, who has been great support and who values student success and faculty's development. And that's why he's playing a very key role in helping us contribute towards the community. Special thanks to Dr. Hamad also, who, as Professor Waqar rightly said, is the father of all these activities, and he has been adding value to the whole thing. So thanks to all of you from my end as the Dean of College of Arts and Science. Now I shift I take off my hat from there, and I am going to start talking to you and speaking to you about our sessions. So I can see that we are over 300 participants who are right now participating in this session. A few things that Dr. Fateha kind of already told you, but I would like to tell you that please take it easy. This is a professional development certification program series that we are doing for you as part of distance education. This is the best thing that is happening in the world right now. You can sit anywhere in the world. We can interact with one another and we can reflect with one another and grow with one another. So we will utilize this opportunity to the best possible scenario. And we have tried to design the sessions in such a way that we can interact as much as possible. But when the number of participants exceed beyond 50, it becomes challenging, but still we request all of you to participate. So as I move on with presentation, you will have areas where questions will be asked. And you are requested to download the Mentimeter, which the link was already sent to you. So this Mentimeter code needs to be used so that will help us really. If anybody can actually scan the QR code, that becomes easy. Otherwise, use this code, which make it easy for you to participate and reflect on things. And please, please, please do participate, because what I'm going to be speaking today, the topic that I'm going to be reflecting, is something that everybody is talking about. The first module is about learning and teaching for future purposes. So we are speaking about every day. The things that I'm going to be reflecting is also those points that we hear on a daily basis. If you click Google, you will find most of the things that I'm speaking about. So the purpose of this session is mainly to think together, to reflect together, and to see that is this enough, or do we need to do something more, or do we need to think differently to move from the current situation of education to where we want to go. And in our education department recently, when we were discussing something, I was speaking about the fact that we are preparing our students for the future that we ourselves do not know about, because the changes that is happening is so swift and drastic that we need to be alert, active, and observant about things every moment. So kindly take this opportunity to reflect on things and do not hesitate to ask questions if there is anything. There is no right or wrong in this session. So there is nothing that will tell you that, oh, you're wrong. No, there is nothing of that sort. This is all about what we need to think together and also think very innovatively and differently. So let's start. We have a lot of slides to go through. I will try to be as slow as possible. As the first slide rightly says, I'm presenting it, and I need to really thank Dr. Mohammed Fatiha for helping me out in preparing the presentation and putting the whole thing together. I have somebody behind the scene who is hiding, Ms. Dua, who is the technical support for me. She's a faculty in the college and she is a tech savvy who is helping me with technology related to quizzing and so on. So we'll go ahead with our session. So let's start. So my first intention is to start with a quote. Now, the quote that I'm trying to take is, of course, always Einstein is the person, is the genius behind everything. So as Einstein has rightly said, education is not the learning of facts, but training of minds to think. And this is becoming more prominent in the current world because things have changed drastically. The importance of technology has jumped into education system beyond our level of imagination. So if we are not getting ourselves ready, how are we going to get our students and our learners to think? So it becomes very important for us to start seeing and reviewing how we are going to be looking at things. So we'll start with a video from UNESCO, and then we will start with discussions.
What kinds of futures do we want to shape? Accelerated climate change, artificial intelligence and biotechnology, increasing exclusion and fragmentation. Our world is becoming more complex and uncertain with many disruptive challenges. Knowledge and learning are humanity's greatest renewable resources for responding to challenges and inventing alternatives. Yet, education doesn't only respond to a changing world. Education transforms the world. But to create the futures we want, we must rethink education. UNESCO has launched a global initiative to reimagine how knowledge and learning can shape the future of humanity and the planet. We are looking at 2050 and beyond, and we want to partner with you to discuss, debate, and re-envision the ways education enables us to become what we want to become. For ourselves, for each other, thinking together so we can act together. Join the conversation and let's make the futures we want.
Okay, so as the video rightly stops at the point saying join the conversation, and that's where we start with our conversation. So next, what we are doing is moving to a question. So if you see, what I have made in the session is to make sure that we go through 4 areas of topics that we will be discussing today. The first one will be to have a general discussion about where do we stand with the education system right now. We will move on to connecting the 4th industrial revolution and the education growth. We will talk about the shifting roles of teachers and students. And then we will talk about what does the system or the education business holders who are delivering and the government and the entities need to do to make sure that we are able to move to the 2050 vision of education for future. So I'm going to start with a question. As we already explained, the code, if you see the screen, you can see the code up there. So you need to go to the code and you will have a timer down where we will be giving you time to 2 to 3 minutes to make a statement, state the current education system. And I know that all of us sitting here are educationists. What do you think is the current status? What do you think? So just state it and leave it there and we will discuss it from there. So you're getting that your timer starts now and you can start. There is no rush. We will give you time. 2 to 3 minutes will be there, but please state it. We need your feedback so that it becomes effective. Excellent. We are getting a lot of notes. Come on, come on. We have so many participants. You can just state it. It can be 2 or 3 words. So most of us are really thinking about the fact that we are in an online world right now. Evolving is a beautiful word that came out. Yes, it is evolving. Yes, to challenges. Challenges are there all the time. And now it's becoming more. It is revolutionary. Yes, we are. I even have a feeling that, 4th industrial revolution will jump into the 5th industrial revolution in no time. COVID has took us to another level of thinking that it will happen soon. Okay, 1 more minute to go. Make it fast. Excellent. There is a lot of things that has been reflected, and some of them are also talking about the political and environmental situation of certain countries. Okay, so I think Dua, we should time up. We have given how many minutes now? 2 to 3 minutes. And we have got quite a good number of response.
Yes,
so,
3 minutes.
Pardon?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, so 3 minutes is quite good time for us to get some feedback. See, we will have, as I said, we will keep moving on with questions and we will be discussing more. So keep yourself ready for that and do not hesitate to ask. You can raise your hand through Zoom or you can put a question on the Q&A and that will be taken and addressed too. Okay, so one of the things that I have tried to capture from this is that we can close the question, Ms. Dua. So now what we are captured from this is that, yes, of course, we all know that there are challenges. We all know that we are having situations to address to. We all know that the environment has changed drastically and we are looking at the possibilities to see how we can reflect on various things. So if you see here, again, going back to many of the points that have been added up, you can clearly see everybody's talking about online. So we need to think a little bit differently. We are all in a situation right now. That's why we are sticking our mind to the concept of online. We need to think differently also, that it's just not that. It's about from where did we move where. So the next slide that I'm going to present to you is a overall review of where were we when we talk about education from an ancient perspective to where we are at this point of time. So that's what is going to be the next slide that I'll be talking about. Now, if you see here, this is being picked from, if you see at the bottom, you will find that there is the website which we used from where we picked this particular figure. Now, if you see, the school system has changed and taken a path from school 1 to school 4 kind of approach. There are different models and different kind of theories related to it. And as I said, when I started speaking itself, I am a person who may believe in a particular approach to education. I am a person who may have a particular affinity to a theory. So, you know, I have chosen a topic, and I told my team that, you know, the topic I have chosen is something that I can do a program on. I can do a 1-month workshop on. So it's huge. So when I was narrowing down the information, I was thinking about what should I really reflect. So I'm giving you some general information. So please try to understand that. Do not go away after this session thinking that this is right. No, what I'm asking you to do is reflect on the various points that is being addressed here, investigate further in that area, and try to put and add more to what we are discussing, because 1.5 hours is nothing when we have to discuss a topic like this. And in the rest of the series or the rest of the session in the first program, we are trying to capsule most of the ideas and give it to you so that you start thinking and reflecting that these are the things I should be doing as a teacher. This is my approach, I will build on this. This is my approach, I will build on it. I'm trying to give you a general approach, okay? So we have to keep that in mind. So we have 4 types of schooling system that based on a concept we are talking about. We had the ancient method, which was mostly like teacher's house. Students used to get together where they stay, they leave, and they do the classes. Monasteries were involved in education system. Religious entities got involved in education mostly it was religious teaching, but later on still it was more of what serves the kingdom or what serves the king was becoming the part of education system. So that was one model. This is very, very ancient. Going to the next step is where we talk about, I'm still in the previous, sorry about that. So this school 2 is a system where we are in the introduction of formal schooling started. Now, can you please reflect with me? I will take you to school 3 and school 4 also, but then we will come back and reflect for a moment. Now, currently in the current model, if we talk about the current model, we are believing that we have introduced IT Lab Smart classes, focus on scholastic activities, introduction to formal preschool education, so on. Okay. And school 4 is the futuristic school, where it is mostly the students are the self-learners. They are driving the whole thing. We are trying to be enablers, and the school becomes an ecosystem where it is co-learning and teaching happening. So the individual learner has an upper hand and they are giving feedback, and that's how it works. Now, can you please come back to me to school 2? How many of us are still in a school system where we are still in an introduction to formal school setting? I know that we have over 320 participants. We may have people from different nations, different countries, different places. Even if you were not from that places, as an educationist, I believe it's strongly important for us to start reviewing and reflecting what is happening in the world. UNESCO plays a very important role in making sure that the underprivileged kids who cannot go to school or cannot take education is brought up. So their strategy is something that will be affecting on what can be done to actually get them to first level of education. And there are nations that have advanced so far that we are building our schools to the future schools where we need them to be ready for future. We are preparing our kids to be ready for the future job market. So the problem right now we have in our system is that we are between school 2 to school 4 approach. We are not in school 2 exactly, or we have not entered school 3 in many areas, and some areas we are already in school 4. So what I'm asking you to do is, it is very important as a teacher, going back to your system and reflecting where do you stand and start working on that. So this is what I wanted to present from this approach, this particular slide, and give you a reflection on how you need to think. Anybody's having any question in this particular slide? Because this slide is very important. If not, we can park the question for later on and we can come back to it. Okay? Okay, so now few things. See, one more thing, I'm not going to be reading slide by slide. One thing that I have started feeling very confused and very much worried about is that when am I going to go back and meet my students? I love speaking to students. I love to work with them face to face. But I do have an appreciation for the technology right now and the distance education, that if I'm able to speak to many of you from many parts of the world is purely because the system we have a new system. So technology has its advantages, and a person like me who still is old-fashioned teacher who uses technology in classes but still loves to interact with the students. So I missed that part. So as I'm trying my best not to read from the slides and not to engage you and try to discuss with you, but apologies if it is not happening. Anyway, let's move on. So what we are trying to reflect is some keywords. Why we put these words in highlight, and red is not alarming, please. It's just that it's our branding color. We're using that, but the red is to keep you focused on those words. That is very essential. Now, if you see few of the quotes that we have used here, one we have picked from the World Economic Forum, another one is what is VSP, and the other one is from two of the researchers. Now, these are few keywords that we will be focusing on in this slide, which is what is the essential prerequisite and foundation to reform in any country. So going back to the previous slide, where I'm not going back to the slide, actually, I'm just letting you know, are we in school 2, school 3, school 4? Where are we exactly is the reflection you need to have from a educational policy and procedure makers line. So at the top level, you have to start thinking and reflect on that. I'm not calling on country's name because that will be very disrespectful of me to say that, oh, this country is falling in this category, this country is falling, and I don't want to do that. Now, similarly, the education is moving away from a knowledge-based to more of from a knowledge understanding based to really and higher level Bloom's taxonomy level of analytical and innovation and so on. But the question is, how today's schools and university prepare students for the world that does not exist? As I said, I'm doing a presentation next week for one of the community here, where primarily I'm talking about, we are preparing for the unknown. We are getting ourselves ready for the unknown. We don't know what is happening out there. COVID is a good example. When it came, it just came and it changed the whole concept and perception of ours. So are we really thinking in that manner? So this is one key question that we need to reflect on. Going back to World Economic Forum, 90% of the job, or I would say 90% of the job has shifted its way of approaches. Now, the current jobs that we are talking about will shift further. In another 20 to 30 years, we are preparing our youngsters to go into the market for jobs that we don't know really exist. I use this example all the time with any presentation that I go when I'm talking about future work skills. I had a cohort that joined Abu Dhabi University 2 years back. This is undergraduate program, and this is engineering students, but students take math and science from CAS, so I had to meet them. And they asked me this question: how are you confident that by the time I graduate, you will be making us ready for the job that is available out there at that time? So that was kind of really alarming for me. And this I had taken up in multiple occasions, saying to my faculty, to my curriculum development team, and so on, and started reviewing that, are we seriously looking at the way we are working towards? So this should start, and this is an argument I always have with school educationists also, that this whole thing should start from school. It's not just high universities. So there is you sow the seed and you grow the plant and make it into a tree accordingly. So that's the purpose. So this is what the next slide is talking about. Now, moving to the next one, what is transformational learning? So who is a transformational learner, and what is transformational learning? So this is another thing that really needs to be taken care of. Now, the question is that we are teachers, most of you. I can understand that 90% of the participants in this group are either teachers or educationists or in some form related to the education sector. Now, the whole concept of teaching and the way we deliver the sessions have changed a lot. Teachers can return to the question about, and this is very critical, why they teach. You know, okay, for me, I may say that, okay, this is what gives me salary, and that's why I'm teaching. No, we are not. Teaching is not a job. I always say that. Teaching is beyond job. Teaching is laborsome. Teaching is creativity. Teaching is innovation. Teaching is thinking through. Teaching is value addition. Teaching is about changing people's life. It's influencing, it's adaptability, developing attitude. It's all in all. That's why being a teacher is a very holy profession. At the same time, that is not because the effort that you have to put is immense. So this is another statement which is saying that what is a transforming learner looking from a teacher? So a learner is somebody who is like, I'm not going to sit and read this for you, but this is what is happening. We as a teacher, the minute we reflect, why do we need to teach? What is our purpose and intention? This answers the question of what I was just reflecting on. Now, moving on to the next, moving on to the next slide is again talking about transformational teaching. So all these things I'm talking from a current scenario, and that's where we are talking again the same concept. What is a teacher doing here? Help students to become metacritical participants. Now people will ask, what do you mean by metacritical? See, many a times we engage ourselves. We engage ourselves in so many platforms where we are limiting our students to be mostly knowledge oriented. Learn, repeat it, and reprocess it. Now, how do we apply critical thinking? And it should start from basic level. We need to go up to an upper level. Okay, I need some points from you regarding this, and you can put it in the question answer chat box or the chat room regarding what are the things that you think is a transformational teacher supposed to be looking like. Because I have talked a lot. What does a transformational teacher is supposed to be looking like? You can type it in the chat box. This time it is not going to come as a code or anything, but use the Zoom chat box and start giving me some points, or raise your hand. Somebody can raise your hand and speak. Please go ahead. Excellent. We can see that. Make students, yes, exactly, risk takers, problem solvers, take ownership of their own things. Yes, we are a change agents. We need to take teacher who does not work for marks. Exactly. I love that. Gradual release of responsibilities. Okay. When you say responsibilities, what responsibilities? Whose responsibilities? Tolerance, honesty, faithful. Okay, that is the key ethical values that teachers should hold. But what do we want the students to become, or how do we want to reflect as open-minded, excellent, teach students to be responsible? Okay, have cultural awareness, responsibility, transformational, independent students, creative, inspire them, facilitators, collaborators. Excellent, excellent. So we are getting a lot of points here which can be very much used. Fine. So this is excellent. I've got a lot of points. I'll just ask you to, very well said. We need IQ and EQ. EQ is taking over IQ. We should build global citizens and so on. Okay, so let me stop you here because I need to continue. I'm not rushing, but I'm also trying to keep watch on the timing. Okay. Now, when we talked about all these points in the chat, what we are also trying to say is, no, I'll go back to the previous slide. I'm sorry about that. I'm still trying to comprehend the fact. Now, we expect students to do this, right? Sir, we all expect that, oh, our students should do this. These are the things that we want our students. So I'm just opening the chat box again, where I'm trying to say that we want them to be critical thinkers. We want them to be globally responsible citizens, independent, dynamic relationships, and engaging motivation towards personal. Okay, we have used a lot of very important words. But my question is, why are we expecting all these things from students? This is a challenging point that I'm trying to make. When we know that we do not have the platform, or we have not developed ourselves or engaged ourselves in addressing the key foundational and fundamental requirements of me as a teacher, the things that I need to do so that I can get my students from X to Y. So that's something. So now going back to the point I discussed before, why am I teaching? So if you take why am I teaching, the answers that you gave me in chat, or the chat that you're engaging in so many points, you're giving me different examples, some are posting theoretical points. The interesting thing here is that these are reflection of you as a teacher on what you want to be as a teacher. But do I have the resources? Am I prepared for it? Have I got the potential to do that? Do I have the curriculum designed in that way? Is my assessment right? Am I in school 2, 3, or 4 level? Which school am I in? So this is a lot of challenges that a teacher tries to face when he is believing in something and the reality is something else. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that as long as you know why you're teaching, the next step is to grow yourself and enhance yourself into the platform where you need to make sure that the belief you have is converted into actions. If you want a student to be problem solver, and if you want a student to be risk taker, if you want a student to be innovator, you cannot be functioning at the basic level, which is called as understanding and knowledge-based teaching and learning, right? So we need to move away from that approach. So that's what I'm trying to reflect on this. And this is again, as I said, is for us to think together. Now I'm moving away. So this module I'm closing here. We can come back for discussion. If there is anything that we need to reflect, we will reflect in the collective closure conclusion point. Now I'm going to move away and I'm going to talk to you a bit about fourth industrial revolution and what is happening in the fourth industrial revolution. How many of you, can you just give me an yes and no answers in the question and answer session? How many of you are aware of or have encountered the terminologies of fourth industrial revolution, or what you have seen? If you have said yes, it's fine, just give me yes. If no, just say no. Good, because why I'm asking this question is, when I speak to you, I don't want to speak to you as if you know it all, or as if I'm speaking to people who do not know anything. So I have to take a mid ground. Okay, thank you. So if you still continue, many of you have responded. I've got almost like 50-60 response already, which shows that we are in a mid ground. Many of you know it. Most of you don't know it. Now, again, I have a chart that I will be showing to you. But before we go there, this is something that happened in the World Economic Forum, which was in 2014, that the fourth industrial revolution was announced. When in 2014, we are talking about something that happened around 6 years back. We are in 2021 already. What World Economic Forum does is they release requirement for jobs and growth for the various global sectors in a 5-year perspective. They have moved from 2015 to 2020 and 2020 to 2025, 2025 to 2030, so on. Now, what they do is they review what is happening and how we are going towards the future. And if all of you know, and this is the next slide I'll be talking about, but before that, let me just read this for you quickly. It's very quickly. This is a quote from the chairman of, founder and executive chairman of World Economic Forum. We stand on the brink of technological revolution. Technology is the word, okay? I call myself still a baby in learning technologies. My daughter might know better. My colleagues know, my young colleagues with me know much, much better than me. But technology is the word. So technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate to one another in its scale, scope, and complexity. The transformation will be unlike anything humankind can experience before. Since it is COVID, let me just talk about the COVID situation. Now, many of us will challenge that, oh, the vaccinations are not right. But if you notice, entire world has developed at least 3 to 4 different vaccines. In past, in 2019, in 1918, when Spanish flu occurred, and they were trying to look for vaccination, when Ebola came out, and they were looking for vaccination, it took them time. Even an 85% successful Chinese vaccine or a 95% successful Pfizer vaccine and all these arguments and things that we are having, if this is right or that is right or which is better, this never occurred in past. COVID happened last year. In 1 year's time, we are sitting talking and trying to understand what is a better vaccine than the other. So we are all thinking together and jumping ourselves to go there. We have a group of researchers who are working, and these researchers were not born yesterday. They were in the market trying to work on these things for the last so many years. So imagine if this is our situation with senior researchers, junior researchers who are going into and working in this field. We are making an explosion of things happening out there with information, with technology, with the way we handle things, which becomes that taking risk becomes the first priority, finding a solution becomes the second and the most important priority. And if we do not train our students to get there through our curriculum reformation and the thought process, this becomes very challenging. And we cannot sit in a corner as an educationist or a teacher of a class saying that, let's wait, let me say what the school teacher is, the school authority is going to tell me. What we do is we all roll up our sleeves and we decide that no. I need to find a way. So that's how each one of us built a particular approach of teaching. One math teacher is different from another math teacher. Me as a psychology teacher is different from another psychology teacher. We all start building our skills so that is used towards our students. So industrial revolution has caused changes in the way we have to look at things. Now, we move to the next slide. This is the fourth industrial revolution, and this is what is a quick overview for you to understand. For those of you who said there is no idea or they don't know what exactly it is, we have moved from 1765 is the first recorded or documented industrialization concept that was most of mechanizing things, from old age time to how to mechanize engine, steam engine, transportation, all those things were key things. 1870 took the second industrial revolution where mass productions came into place. In the first and the second one, it was more of livelihood. How do we live? What are the things that will help us? How to make our life smooth and easy and, global population and so on. 1969, the third industrial revolution was automating production. So from manual labor, things went into automation. Now, in all these processes, people started thinking we will lose jobs. But people were not losing jobs. But new specific skill-based jobs started coming into play, and that took role over manual labor. So what you can notice is that from thinking, less of jobs which requires high level innovation and thinking, from mechanic for what you call as hard labor jobs in the two revolution, we moved into more of innovative thinking kind of approach. That's what Einstein said. We have to build thinkers. From there, what we have done is now today, in the current era, we are talking about, and it was, as I said, in 2015-14, it was announced, the fourth industrial revolution is all about technology. Internet is taking the lead. You cannot shy away from data. And you can see that with the COVID, the way internet has changed, the way distance education and software is being used for distance education and even for various kind of interactions and development it is amazing. So that's where it is. So new technologies where we are talking about internet for everything, big data analysis, artificial intelligence, cyber and physical system. And why I use the COVID vaccine as an example is tomorrow, let's say I have a student from school, in your school, he is saying that I want to be a doctor. Gone is the time when you can say, okay, my dear, go take biology, you will become a doctor. Because now in the current situation, it is not just knowing about biology and human anatomy and, doing, you have to know about technology. You have to know the use of artificial intelligence and how this will be done. There are a lot of equipments and gadgets involved in the process of medicine. So you should have certain engineering skills. And here we are not talking about a civil engineer or so on, but a technology-based engineering skill that will be required for you to show that you have the competency to do so. Engineers are always blamed to be narrow-minded and they only think in one direction. They are in a closed box, they draw lines and that's it. Gone is the time when it can be like that, because the requirement of humans are changing. The environment is changing, the world global impact is different, that they have to think differently. They cannot be sitting with the old model and say that. So what is more important in engineering is creativity and innovative ideas that will have to go in so that new ideas come in. Technology is used there. So this is what we are talking about in an industrial revolution. Now, in our teaching and learning, technology started playing a very important role. That's why, as part of the EDU2030 series, we have decided to keep a complete professional development training program explicitly for teaching and technology in teaching and learning, because we have so much to learn there, we have so much to understand and reflect on. So we will have a series which is different on that. I'm just telling you how important it has become. Okay, now there are two questions towards the end, which again is two challenging questions that we need to understand. What are the implications for schools and educators and students with the coming of fourth industrial revolution, readiness for future, and how are we going to function? The second question is again the same thing. Career readiness and better prepare students for an uncertain future. These two things. So I would request you all to really reflect on these things and see how are we able to manage and function with these things. These two questions are key questions that will be addressed, and please let me tell you that, do I have an answer for that? I do not, but we are together going to reflect on various things that we could do, and this will be only a capsule of what the entire level of understanding you require in this topic. Let me go to the next slide. Okay. From a technological perspective, when we talk about the need for digitalization in today's world, what are the key things that we are talking about? the technology is how it doesn't just affect students, it also has an impact on teacher. I already told you about that. I already talked about transform the set of teaching methods. I was reflecting on that it's not just about you deciding that why am I teaching, but how am I going to make that why converted into actions, the reason behind my thought and how. And teaching methods have to change. It has to change. And classrooms, the way classrooms used to look is changing drastically. The way the teacher has moved to being a one-sider, speaking, giving the questions, getting the answers, and this is right and wrong, from being a facilitator. So there are a lot of things. I'll be talking about that further, but that is adding to the point. Now, next also is that by digitalization, what is happening is that we are looking at to increase productivity. What productivity? Are we talking about machine productivity, or are we talking about human capacity? Here we are talking about how we are able to make our learning process more efficient, timing more efficient, life skills and soft skills more efficient, technological skills more efficient, so that we are able to creatively and innovatively find ways on how we try to use assessments and tools and so on. It's a huge topic again, but digitalization is playing a key role in this form. Moving to the next slide. Okay, I have few questions. And this is again something I will engage you in chat room. And I will start with the first question. And please, I'll be giving you two minutes for each question because there are too many questions for me to get a feedback from you. In the whole complexity of industrial revolution, the whole complexity of the things that we are trying to say, what do you mean by artificial intelligence? What do you mean by use of technology in a medical school? Why are we talking about all these things? How do you think as educationist you are going to follow, or how will the educationist teach? Like, what will be the method? How do you see yourself reflecting? So just use 1 or 2 words and ask yourself, and give me in the chat box, comment on how do you look at yourself in a classroom or even in a distance world. What kind of method will you be applying? (4D model, digital facilitator, integrate media, power of example, okay. Facilitator to knowledge, stimulation, okay. Inquiry based, digital, stimulation, contemporary. You're using, I like the fact that you're using very project based, flipped classroom. You're using a very technical words here. And I can see many of you are from science background, which is very clearly indicated by the way you're putting. Through STEMs, excellent. Stimulation, facilitator, engage students through technology. That's what we're asking. Method. What is a method? Flexible need for students, whether X, digital competency and augmental reality, PBL, problem-based learning, excellent. Student-based STD center. Yes, student teacher development is required. Gamification, yeah, blended learning, an indicator, project-based learning. Okay, hold on. I have another question in this context. Let me ask you another thing. Now that most of us are in distance education, I just need you to give me yes or no. Do you think currently the distance education platform that we are using is actually proper technology-based teaching? Yes or no? Yeah, somebody is so irritated that has a lot of no. So this again shows very clearly that we know what we want, but unfortunately, we are stuck with the system that we are asked to go forward with. You know, the challenge of future of education is the reformation. Yes, I like Russia, Awad, I like your terminology which you used. You need 2 to tango. That means it's just not one way. It comes from up. And the two here is the teacher and not the school alone, not the students alone. It is the system. So you just jumped into it and you are really not using the technology. So this is where the future of education doesn't lie in the hands of teacher alone. That's my argument all the time. It lies in the hands of educationists who need to think differently and make it effective, which is the school system, everybody, even the students. The students are confused about what needs to be done, and the self-learning process from them are not happening. Yes, Lama has rightly said, we were not ready. We were not ready for it. So we just jumped into it and we think that everything is fine. This is a very key part. So COVID has taught us, is it doable? Yes, it is doable. However, is this the right method? No, it is not the right method. It needs a lot of reflection. Every day when we do distance education, we'll be thinking, we will go back to the old scenario. So it's fine. Let's be like this. But what I'm trying to tell you is, no, it is not always fine, because the possibilities of going back to old situation is going to be very limited. At the same time, even if you go back face to face, you may want to try new things. You may want to look at things. And that's where the concept of efficiency comes into place. Okay, thank you so much. That was so nice of you. I liked your inputs. And all these things we are trying to save and utilize. And I will be answering more questions. The real school and teacher is the teachers are the best. You sound like me, which I believe in, but it is true. At the same time, it is time to reform things. And let me guarantee you one thing, all educationists, nobody is going to take away our job. Don't think a robot can come and replace a human being in the system of education. What we will do is, robot will be our facilitator or will be a tool for us, but we will be still the people who will be engaging in the changes that we will make. I don't know why we have a wrong perception that educationists will be replaced by robots. We are not cooking the same. See, if you cook the same recipe every day also, you still have this issue of having different taste. You cannot have the same taste. So that's the issue here. Okay, let's talk about the next question. How will the students learn? Well, how do you see in an industrial revolution era, the students' learning will occur? Again, go back to chat. Let's use few words and just describe it. Spoon-fed in an industrial era? Project more. Learning. It's not teaching, learning. How are they learning? What are they learning? It's not, more than what, how are they? Peer collaborations, okay. Face-to-face. Face-to-face research and collaboration research, experimenting, observing, practicing. PPL. Collaborative project-based learning. Question. In the previous one, whoever wrote problem-based learning is what we are talking about. We have a lot of problem-based learning that will come into place. Risk-taking, observation and experimentation. More than observation, it will be really asking the person to take the risk and do the experimentation. Exploration, yes, exploring is very essential. Yes, they will use the same, they will learn the concept and apply various tools, and this one, STEM and PBL will be there. Even when you're talking about STEM, you need to have the thinking concept, value, system, everything will come in. Sports related learning. How will KG students learn? That's a key question. I'll come to that, because you may feel that I'm very much focusing on these only students for higher level. No, I'm coming to that STEM concept. So on, applying. Okay, then again, let me hold it. Let me rephrase my question in another form, just like I told you previously. What if we are saying that in the current situation, how is the learning taking place? In the COVID situation, how did you see the change? You said there was drastic issue with the way we transformed, and it was not easy for us to do things. It was just pushed. So the students also would have fallen into that trap. What is the process of the student? What did you find? Student more easily learn more easily when they deserve research. No, I'm talking about the current thing, current situation. How is their learning going on? If one or two words you use, out of hands. I like it. More, unfortunately, students depend more on their parents. Okay. Independent learning, heavy support from parents, passive learning, adapting to learn. Yes. Digital transformation, behavior change. Did we really see behavioral change in students? Was it positive or negative? Whoever wrote that, can you tell me whether it was positive behavior change or negative behavior change? Negative, yes. See, parents are the learners, not the student. We use technology methods more. Students are stressed. Are you not stressed? You are stressed because you are always doubting that did the students learn. Parents should understand that students, yes, exactly, I agree. Students, they are depending more on parents, low on motivation, the rest. Yes, everyone is in stress, decline of social skills, self-learning, stressed, negative. Okay, okay, hold it. So let's move on because I understand this is, yeah. I can see that parents' involvement is becoming like too crucial on things sometimes, and yeah, lack of communication. Yeah, they lack communication skills. So the question here is that the last one that we just came up, that they lack communication skill. This is where what I am saying is going to change because yeah, cheating is more easy. I'll hold it. I'll hold it. So let's continue. See what is happening right now is that the way we are functioning has made us push you as a group of teachers and push the students as a group of learners. Just take a method. Nobody was prepared. Nobody knew what are the transformational changes we need to do. When we move from one system to another, how do we get them to adapt? And that was not there. So when we push things like that, we definitely expect this kind of drastic changes that happens that may not sound positive most of the time, but when there is less positivity and more of negativity, this is a learning process for us. And more negativity is more challenging because now you have to learn more and understand what needs to be done differently. Teachers expect, parents expect everything is in the hand of the teachers. So we have to be extremely vigilant about that. I need to move on. As I said, I'm keeping watch on my time because I can keep talking about these topics forever. So the next one is, what will the educators teach content-wise? What do you think the educators will teach? We can take a few minutes in that area also. Can we start with the chat room? What are you going to teach in a new environment? Skills, critical thinking. Okay, 21st century skills to adapt, adaptability, ATL, communication skills, very essential. Real life living, adaptation, how to be responsible, problem solving, more ICT technology, skills to adapt, skills. Yeah. So what I can see as I keep reading, I can see the word skills everywhere coming. So the question is that in past, in our face-to-face or in any format, were we not teaching them skills? The fact is that, yes, we were teaching them to learn certain subjects. Now you're saying you want them to learn the subjects and convert it into skills that they can apply, they can use it. So you are moving away from just taking knowledge into your head to move away from using that on application basis. And that's where research comes into play. You have to look at how the environment is, what are the different things. So naturally, when we are going to have a drastic change in the way the future jobs will look like, this will start from the way we start functioning with the students. And that's where the skill is. If they don't learn skill, how are they going to go and do that? And many of you are rightly saying it. We are not having, we lack our students or we lack in them the skill to communicate, to stand up and say that this is what is going to happen, to express their thoughts, to express ideas. It's very important. Life skills, adaptability, because global world is one single world. How can I adapt from this environment to another environment? Financial reasoning, how to take risk. Can I do this over the other? What is research? Resilience, yes, exactly, that's a key word. These are things that you will actually, because do I need to do this session with you? Or do you need to do sessions with your students? Because everything is available in Google. Every information is like an explosion out there, which is available for all of us to use. So there is no question about us sitting there and again giving them knowledge. How do we convert that into another format? That's what we have to really look at. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of wordings for kindergarten specifically, because see, kindergarten is one of the most important time where there needs to be social skill development that kids need to have in them. This is where they start learning social responsibility, social interaction, value system addition, what needs to be done in that. When you are in a distance platform, this is what is the biggest challenging. How are you going to get this to be done? How are we going to get this done? What are the things that will come into place? So for the preschoolers, the whole challenge is different. And I'm taking a note. I'm the dean of the college. I can take notes and take action. So I'm taking a note. I'm seriously thinking it's worth thinking and having a session only for preschoolers and kindergarten school teachers to understand. It doesn't need to be a certification. We can have a webinar on that where we discuss about the potentials and the skills that we need to really engage in, so that we know if this scenario continues, how can we make things more effective? And the role of parents become very important. So we can engage in few parents that you can choose from schools to join the session and so on, because it is challenging, I will tell you. Okay, I have to move on, but I'll keep this as a note, definitely. Let's move to the next question. Oh, sorry, I jumped to the, instead of the question, I went to the next slide. Okay, I was a bit fast. There you go. So next few questions are again very specific, but very important. How will the learning space look like? We will be talking about that. In fact, this whole session is going to end by us asking you, how do you want your space to look like, which we will be putting it in a diagram and sending it back to all of you. So you will know your own feedback, how does it look like? So this is something we'll be talking about. What are the roles of educators? Your roles will shift. What are the roles of students? So we already talked about it, like the methods you will teach, but can we have a little bit of time on that where we talk about the roles of educators and roles of students? So can you give me the first wording you will type? What is the role of educator and what do you think the student should be? Can we start with that? If that is difficult for you, let's start with the question, what is the role of educators looking like? In future, what do you think? Facilitators, mentor, yes. Guide, facilitator, excellent. Guiding, mentoring, yes. Coaches, facilitator, guide, role model. Role models, always teachers used to be role model. Challenger, I like that. I like that word. Yes, you need to challenge your students. Without that, it doesn't work. Researcher, participant. Yeah, we can say the teacher becomes a participant and your students can be the one who is taking it, shifting, flipping it. Influence, knowledge disseminator, mentoring teachers, students, skills, influencer, provoke motives. Okay, good. So pretty much we are all in the same platform of saying that moving away from a person who is giving only instructions, we are going to be playing the role of a facilitator or a mentor or a coach, because coach, please, it's not the sports coach we are talking about, but even in the sports coach, they motivate, they push the person, ask them to build the skill of success and accept failures. Those skills sports coach do that. So it's kind of that approach. In reality, a coach, what the coach does is to let us understand our strengths and weaknesses and build on that. The strengths are built higher and weaknesses are overridden and converted into positivity. So these are roles that teachers will take, and counseling skills and advisory skills becomes a key part of all teachers' requirement. It is not that you will have a special counselor only or a special teacher only for a certain purposes. It will become holistic. So I like to call it as a more holistic approach. So yes, excellent. Now my next question is, what will be the role of students then? Let's go on. Start. What is the role of students? Communicators, learn. Okay, they are learning. That's always been the case. But what? Explorers, find information, problem solvers. So pretty much we will be sticking to most of this part of they are being analytical, application based innovators. That's the kind of thing we are wanting them to do. Self-learners, exactly. Fine. Okay, so keeping time in mind, I will ask you to stop. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Followers, I like somebody has put 3 smiley face on that. Excellent to say that followers. Don't you even think we will be following the students? They will not be our followers. It will become very difficult. Evaluators and so on. Okay. Let's move to the next one. So what are the attributes of students and school educators? So again, this is again a holistic question. You answered in a generic approach for all these questions. So we are good to go, and we had some reflection on that. But to sum up, a very simple thing, there is a holistic approach the teacher will have to take, where the teacher is shifting from a stand-alone middle person, dictating and doing things, to a facilitator, mentor, coach approach. Students move away from give me the information, I will learn it, and I will throw it up back in a form of assessment, to no, I need to do research, I need to investigate, I need to reflect, and I need to come up with. So creativity, innovation, and the higher level of thinking order will be the reflection that they will start using. Skill building will be the key thing. So to sum up, that's what we are talking about. Now let's move to the next one. Things that schools must do to prepare for fourth industrial revolution. Again, these are few reflection only. This is not written on rock that everything is this. What we are trying to say is that this will become essential. So first and the most important is that redefine the purpose of education. The second one is improve STEM education. So redefine, we were talking about all those things only. What is the purpose of education? Do they get a 10th high school degree or a kindergarten school, or what is the whole thing? So it links, it is not disconnected anymore. So in the old system of education, in school 2 also it is happening, and in school 3 also it is happening. School 4 system, it will not happen, is what we assume and believe in. In school 2 and school 1, in school 1 type, we know that everything what the teacher says, that is a final, you follow it, and the teacher used to build the curricula based on whatever the king or the kingdom or the society needed. Now, when we came to school 2 system, we started forming formal school education, but there is governance that was done by the government. A system is there. There are different accreditation bodies or different systems saying this system of education, that system of education, which controls the curricula. What is interesting for me to see, being an education psychologist, is that 1 + 1 is 2 everywhere. There is no difference in that. But what is the difference is that how did you get that 1 + 1 to be 2? How did the student comprehend that 1 + 1 is 2? The method we use is what is important. And where do we use that 1 + 1, 2 is important. I know so many education systems where students do not know what is the purpose of addition. Only if I know to use the concept of addition in my real life and in my career or in my real life, like when I say real life, in our day-to-day life, wherever, then it adds a purpose. This is a very basic example I'm trying to say. So holistically, there should be a purpose of education. And in the post-industrial revolution, we should foresee and rearrange that. Improve STEM education. STEM, you know what is the meaning of that? Science, technology, engineering, and the methods related to that. Mechanical, M stands for mechanical, I think. So if I'm not mistaken, that's how we go with STEM education, where we are emphasizing more of technology and scientific use of techniques in education system. And do we use it? Yes, we use it. Was it there in the system? Yes, it was there. But it was more of telling students, these are the things you follow and that's it. Give an exam, finish the exam, and next level, what is it? I took chemistry in my 11th and 12th grade. I cannot remember why I took chemistry. I cannot remember anything in that. Only few experiments or things that was there. Maybe I would be told by my chemistry teacher that if you followed chemistry in your life as a career, you will remember everything. But my understanding is that when you are educating students at school, it is very important that they use it in their holistic life rather than leave it and go away. There is a problem in the system then. Develop human potential, very important. See, this is another thing. We walk into a class, we have to assess that all of our students are not equal. Inclusive education is important. If I am good in math, my peer sitting next to me may be finding math to be challenging. But if the teacher is going to treat me and my peer in the same manner, thinks that we are all Einsteins, then things becomes challenging. So I'm not trying to say that all teachers do that. Gone is the time when that used to happen. We have systems where we post-test, pre-test, we do different methods by which we assess things. But these things have to change. Adapt to lifelong learning models, alert educator trainers. You need to, and one thing I have to tell you is that this kind of professional development requirement is something that you should do most often, and you should ask your schools to help you continue doing it. When it is for free, it is excellent. Even if it is requiring you to be supported in some manner, you have to, because that's one challenging thing that is going to come up in future, that if I'm doing the session next year this time, I can assure you I will have 10 new things to add to it. Shifting of information, shifting of things from a current concept to a new concept is happening very drastically. A technology we use today is not the technology we will be using in another 1 month. That's the level at which drastic changes are happening. So upscaling yourself on a technique and a method is very important. Many times we are like, okay, we know it, now what's the problem? And I faced it. I'm telling you, as a dean, I can tell you, because I lost track of teaching for a couple of years because I became administrative head. So when we are mostly engaged in developing curricula or trying to tell people what to do and asking faculty, it was very difficult. I lost that. And then when I went into classrooms while the COVID happened and online distance, I realized that, oh my God, I need to equip myself with so many things. My fellow colleagues and my faculty knew so many things, and I am so happy to learn from them. So we need to upscale ourselves all the time so that we are not, you don't want to be told by a teacher, oh teacher, you don't know anything, you are still outdated, right? So we need to do that. Make schools maker space. Do you need me to explain that? That's simple. Like it's more of creative spaces. Let the students use the space where they indulge in enhancing their ideas and skills and so on. So that's where we are. Then that's how the school environment should look like. Not like you walk, march in, you go into the class, sit there, teacher tells you what to do. Again, the systems have changed a lot. International mindfulness. Now, keep in mind, we are not a school which is going to, or a university which is going to just send students graduate out and they will stay there. No, students are going all over the world. If we are talking about online businesses or online approaches, my client may be sitting somewhere in another part of the world, entirely in the eastern part of the world from where I am right now. And I need to know things. So this is where we should be very, very much thoughtful, very much aware, and we should be also and interculturally able to accept and adapt value system and education system so that we know how we are going to breed and develop things around that. Now, change in higher education. Of course, this is very important because a traditional kind of program will not work for future. We need to keep upscaling it and developing it more and making sure that we are up to the mark. So that's why if you see mechanical or civil engineering now, civil engineering will take a shift slowly. Of course, construction will keep happening, but the materials used, the modules used, more high-tech things that come in, things are changing there. When you go to electrical engineering or computer engineering, you're talking about things like robotics. We are talking about cyber security, artificial intelligence applications, so on. So multi-specialization, it's like this. When we were kids, like if I'm talking about my being a kid, which was ages ago, I would be taken to a doctor who will look at, he will be a general physician or a doctor who will take care of everything under the sky. But if for my own kid, if I take, oh, she's having a small skin rash, oh, I have to go to a dermatologist who is specialized in skin rashes. That is the level at which specialization has come into place. So even in future, that's where I said from basics to advanced specialization concept will come into play. But everywhere you need the skill, and without skill, you will not be able to, the future kids will not find themselves in job market very well. Going to the next one is, oh, what is happening to my mouse? Okay, let's go to the next slide. So again, I've talked about all these things. We pretty much covered everything. I'm not going to elaborate more on it. So from education 1, just like school 1, school 2, school 3, school 4, keeping in mind the industrial revolution concept, we are moving from lecture, rote learning, memorization method to internet enabling. See, internet enabling learning is only education 2. And that's where we are all sitting. Next is education 3 is knowledge-based education, where, okay, we have the information, but what next? We are moving to innovation-based learning. So we are in a transformational form. Now, keeping these 4 things in mind, again, open your chat box, all of you. Open your chat box, and can you please very clearly self-reflect on yourself and ask yourself, are you using education 1? Or you don't need to type education 1 or 2. Just tell me, are you using 1? Are you using 2? Are you using 3? Or are you already in 4? Which education approach you're using? Okay, 4. Excellent. That's good to hear. All. That's nice. 4, 3, 2, 4, 4, 2, 3 and 4, 2 and 3, 2 and 3. Okay. I am not believing all of you now. Sorry to say that. I trust, I have to say this, but some Fatima is laughing. I do not seriously believe, yes, somebody has honestly said, honestly 1. Okay, okay, good. I love this part where you're telling me the truth and some of you are not telling me the truth. Okay, no, I swear all. Okay, good. Fatima, nice. I like that you're swearing on it. Okay, now, to be frank, I am in higher education. I have been with the higher education system for almost 21 years now. I've seen transformational changes in higher education in many formats. However, I still struggle to see and make students and teachers understand, because I'm an education psychologist and my specialization is in teachers and how to develop and get them to go to the next level. Still, we use assessment methods that is education 1. You know what is interesting? We claim that, thank you. I take my word back. I trust all of you, but I'm just trying to make the whole thing in a different perspective. See, all these 4 things are important. We need to move from 1 to 4, but 4 includes 1, 2, and 3. If you really do not know how to understand something, but lecturing is not what I'm talking about. You need to lecture sometimes, but you need to have a limit, like how much do you do it. What is the limit to which we are talking about all these things? What is happening interestingly is that we are kind of blending all these things and using it. But when we are actually using education for system, we will have certain percentile of things which will lead a student to be actually innovators and use assessment where they are coming out with a critical thinking approach and reflecting on it. Many a times we try to use internet, we try to knowledge-based approach things. We believe we are inducing innovation approach, but we end up giving them assessments that are purely rote learning and memorizing. Agree? Yeah. So that's where Fatima again has said it rightly. It is an equation of balance. At the end, if you say that a plus b the whole square is a 2ab plus a square plus b square, whatever it is, maybe I'm wrong. Any math teacher, please, apologies. I'm trying to make myself sound very knowledgeable about math. But what I'm trying to put is this way, that it is important for us to put the equation correct. I like to use the example of cooking and, sometimes good food and so on. Why is it that, have you noticed why is that how much ever the food tastes nice, if it comes on a plate completely shabby and dirty, will you like to eat it? You'll be like, seriously. But sometimes the food is dry, horrible, pathetic. You put it in your mouth, you want to just throw up. But the way the plate is decorated is amazing. You just love it, right? You are attracted to it. Our education system has a big problem there. Things are packaged in such a beautiful manner, but when you enter into that, it is not giving the key essence and the value of education, or it's not providing what it really needs to provide. Whereas there is another equation in which the kind of approach is amazing, students really learn it, but it is not packaged properly. So what I'm trying to say is that you, a team of teachers, are the reformers who can do this, and this is how you need to carry. So it's a combination of everything where you take these three things and move to the fourth one. Okay? So let's move to the next one. I can see many of you putting comments on it. Oh, again, we have got comments saying that you skip one, you will see how much resistance it will bring. Oh, so true, I can tell you. It's all about, but one thing I'll tell you, do not think that any change is that easy journey. It has got its own challenges. You don't think it is easy. Now we have the next question. Ready, everybody? Ready? Let's play. Again, you will get 1 to 2 minutes. What we want you to do is, the code is on the top, 7812910. Code it and start entering. You can choose from all these things any 2 statements, not more than 2 statements, okay? Think through and use 2 statements. We are just asking your opinion. All may be right. You may say, oh, what a big problem here. Everything is right. Why are you asking that? But we want to see how you are going to address this. I'll give you time because I want maximum participation. It's very easy, quickly can be done. Yalla, fast. Let's do it. Nice. Don't worry, you'll get more time. We are just putting the timer to show you that 1 minute is coming to an end. We'll give you another minute. Good. Keep going. Everybody, please. That will be really nice. I know some of you will be thinking, oh my God, I made a mistake. I should have chosen the other thing. Okay, 10 seconds left. Okay, Dua, give them 30 seconds more. Okay, only 30 seconds, and 30 seconds we'll stop, okay? Go, 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 go. We still have few more to answer. Okay, we have equal effect on the first two item. Everybody very strongly believes that technology is going to take a key role. Okay, voting closed. So we have, see how interesting it is to see that we are saying that technology is going to be the key driving force for learning. And that really matters. And many of us, when we are given a two choice option, we chose that. And we can see that some of you decided to choose from that many, some of you decided to choose change in assessment patterns and shift to independent learning. And in this five criterions, you hardly, I cannot put it that way. You still thought that priority of mainly affecting teaching pedagogy and curriculum is the least when compared to the others, right? 128 participated. I wish I had more participation here because we have almost 300 people participate and only this many people could give the answer. It's okay, but 129 is not bad. But in 129 participants, if you really think that technology is the driving force, that is something that we need to seriously think. Secondly, it is important to think. So let me tell you one thing, nothing is wrong here. Everything is right. But based on your mindset, you are prioritizing these are the things that should happen sooner so that we'll be able to implement the changes or we will be able to make the difference. So the first one is to start implementing the right technology into the system. Then you start looking at the other things. Anyway, let's move to the next slide. Thank you all of you. It was great. We have some chat rooms coming in. Yeah, I can see. I think some of you just decided to put chat inside rather than playing in the survey. It's fine, but this also is important for us. We'll be capturing this information also. Thank you so much. Now, to add to what you just said, there are some more points here. I think we have already discussed, we all talked about it. Time, space, independent education, personalized learning, learning flexibility, field-specific experience, project-based learning, data analysis, data interpretation, changes in exam patterns and assessment, of course, curriculum and student participation, guidance oriented. Do you think this is it? There are so many other things, but this is just a nutshell of simplified format to say that these are the key things to start with. If you see the picture here, all of you are seeing the picture here, no? This picture correctly reflects the fact that you have so many things around you. You may have so many, building blocks but what exactly are you trying to make the kid build? What exactly is the system you're trying to get them? That's where the formation of the thing is very important. So you need to play a very important role in how you will decide what are you going to put around your kid or the students. What is the different things you will put around your students that they will take, build on it, and give you the most innovative and creative idea. You can only expect certain kind of growth in students when you have sowed the right thing. If you do not give them what you expect them to give back, then you cannot expect them to provide that. That's why I'm trying to say. So this picture has a very important reflection also for you to have. This is where in future, putting all these points together, you should build the space and the environment in such a way with your tools and efficiency and capabilities, which is tools include assessment and, curricula, everything, where you will let the student play around and come up with their ideas and create something out of it. If you do not provide them with flexibility, do not provide them with resources, do not provide them with required understanding? Do you expect them to come back and tell you, create something entirely new for you? No. So you become a catalyst to encourage them to learn and develop new things. Moving on to the next slide. Shift of role in teachers and students. So we are going into the game again. Now, I'm from fourth industrial revolution. I'm shifting my topic to the next one. All of you, please enter the code. And what I want from you is just statements. I just want you to tell me in a statement, what is the teacher's role in future? We already discussed it. You may come up with this one. Please start. Go ahead. Timer starts now. I want in words, okay? 1 or 2 words. Facilitator, okay, 1 or 2 words. 2 or 3 words. Reflect on yourself and start. Excellent. Good, 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 good. Inspiring. Oh, I love the word director. Yeah, it's like symphony direction or a movie direction. You have so many elements. Guide, motivator, mentor, facilitator is the one standing by itself. But let's see how the things go. Good, 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 good. 30 seconds more I'll give you. Make it fast. Make it fast. Please. 92 people only participated. Go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. Okay. Time up. Close, 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 close. So what is interesting to see is that we have exactly got the word facilitator highlighted. We have the word mentor highlighted. Many of you have used facilitator. If you go and check, this is it. So we already discussed this, but it is worth considering and reflecting. In the previous slides, while we were discussing Industrial Revolution itself, we discussed it, but it is important. Now, I like the word director a lot because yes, you are having, a good movie or a good symphony or any form that requires, it is a collective effort. If in a symphony, if somebody is playing at a different tune, in a movie, if the actor is acting in the interest of their own way, it will not work. The director is the one who takes everything. The script has to be okay. The teacher is a director. The teacher is a mentor. He or she is a coach. So I love all the words that you have given. You are thinking right. You are reflecting right. It's just that how collectively we can make the difference in our group. That's what is very important. I've got some feedback in the chat also. I'm also reviewing them. I like some of them putting that the teacher is a mother too. Okay, excellent. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. We finished the cloud. So we'll go do this one. Refining roles of teachers. We already educators. We reflected on a couple of them, but we are no more knowledge holders. So if you are thinking that we are, the old concept of teacher is the most wise person in the world and wisdom is all about the teachers and blah, 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 all those things, that doesn't exist anymore. The students can challenge you and do not, this is my advice with my long-term experience, I'm telling you. And every year when I see new students coming and I can tell you that we should always think that we learn from our students. We always should understand that students will motivate us to think differently and act differently. Students can become our challenging element. So we know it all has changed. You can have your teacher you can have yourself corrected because the student comes back and tells you, see, this is what I heard, took from the research scholar, not just Google. They will even go research it in a scholarly, this one, or even write to an expert in the area and ask questions. So things have changed. We cannot challenge our students saying that, oh, be there, I know it all, I will deal with it. Gone is the time. Next is redefine the role of educators in classroom and lecture theatre. I have been in lecture classes, okay, where we had, it's not I'm teaching, I'm attending lectures where we have hundreds and 200s of people. And I've seen that how even in lecture classes, it's very interesting that it could be changed into a very interesting discussion module by having groups. But what happens there is that the teacher comes with a plan, takes the students exactly to that plan. But if you see, the teacher is doing nothing, but the teacher would have prepared as I previously said, directed and scripted exactly what she's expecting to do. So she's able to maneuver and move around hundreds and 200s of students because this is the idea she's having to play with them. Whereas when you're dealing with school kids and when you're dealing with smaller schools kids and high school kids and teenage and age and changes and drastic changes happening in them, if you are engaging yourself in different levels of students, so if I go to a class where I'm teaching 6th graders and then I'm teaching 8th graders, you may not be able to use the same directive methods to the next group. You will have to play around with that. Subject may be the same, but the methods will have to change. So this is where, the whole approach will change. We already talked about educators being facilitators, how they are going to make young mind think differently and to say that, and I always believe in a teacher who says, it's okay to make mistakes, not to a teacher saying that, how come you made this mistake? Did I not tell you that this is how we have to do it? No, you don't get the marks. If you need to engage them in that particular manner. Okay. Now, let's go to some other few key interesting words. Meddler in the middle. How nice, no? We are trying to say that we are the... How many of you have read the story of Pied Piper? The one who takes the rats and pushes him to the water? You have, right? It's so beautiful to see, how you can influence and change and do those things. Now, we may think, what is in it for us? No, what it is saying is that you do not want a bunch of followers whom you're going to take them and dance at your tune and push them off the cliff to the water. Okay. You need to be the one who will sing and make them decide on which direction they should go. You don't want to be the person who should be putting the whole group into... This is not a product machine industry where we are just generating one after the other, a lot of people who think in the same manner and who behave in the same manner. For that, we will have robots. Our human capacity needs to be built by getting them to think differently. And to think differently, you need to open and stir the thoughts in the student's mind on having how you can do and look at things from a different manner. So this is where, and I believe in teachers exchanging ideas, collaborating with one another, talking to each other, working together, trying to say that, okay, I'm ready to take this risk, I'm ready to do this. So these are a couple of things in this particular slide where we are talking about how we are going to spend time or how we are going to get ourselves ready for that. So if you quickly go through it, we have gone through this point. And then what is a long-term notion of good teaching in number of ways? That's what we are trying to address here. We are talking about how we collaborate with one another and we are able to learn from one another, not ignorant of other things. So we are spending, so if you read this is very interesting. Less time taken giving instructions and more time spent being a useful, ignorant co-worker in the thick of an action. So you're kind of saying that, oh, within the students, you are enacting as if they are telling us how to do things. So these are beautiful things, and this was research done by Erica, and educationist Erica, who is, if you Google her, you will find a lot of points. very valuable. You can apply that. You can, but the thing is that you need to look at what are you teaching, who is your subject is the wrong word, sorry. Who is your student? What kind of students, their level of efficiency, how are they able to do things? So this you need to really understand and behave accordingly. So these are a few tips that is required for the teacher to change their approach and role. We discussed this already, so I'm not going to, I think I'm good. Any questions in this slide? Quickly, we can go through it. Any questions? Okay, there are a few, no. Okay, so let's move on because we kind of had already talked about it. So let's move to the next slide. Okay, again, some more points regarding to the same thing. What the teacher is more important than what he teaches. So a very interesting statement, no? So many a times we walk into a class, we have a set of syllabus, we have a set of content. Our main mission is to walk into the class and think that, oh, I have to finish this. I have 30, 40 minutes. So even when I'm looking at the time, every time I'm telling myself, no, I have a purpose. I need to finish it. I know I have only a few minutes in my hand. I need to finish it. So, but we all are driven by the fact that we have a curricula to finish. We will teach them all these things. You do not think sometimes that, did the students really learn it? What is the advantage they are getting out of it? Do they gain anything out of it? Is this really value adding for them? The self-reflection of a teacher to the content is very important. So that's why there are a few points that we are trying to say here. They should be the change agent. They should be self-efficacy for changes. Their teaching methods have to be reflected. You need to review that students view as being capable of mastering. And this is another thing, why that fourth statement becomes very important is that many times we also walk into classes and we look at our students, I have to handle him. I have to deal with him. He or she doesn't know anything. I have to. Why do we underestimate our students' capacity? I'm not sure. The fact is that nowadays the students know much more than we even can imagine. So you need to go there. And if you go with that thinking, you will work above their thought process so that you will come up with good perspectives and actions, right? So that is very important also. Next one is, let's go to the next one. Okay, we have a video. Let's see the video now.
As our societies evolve, so do our education systems. But what does the future of education look like? To answer this question and understand how traditional models are evolving, we looked at emerging features that may become the new normal in education systems around the world. What did we see? Traditionally, in education systems, decisions are made by a select group of people, and everyone has a distinct role. Students learn by listening to their teachers, teachers teach, and principals manage the schools. The curriculum is linear and standardized. Academic performance is prioritized, and students are assessed through standardized tests. How is this changing? Education systems embodying the new normal are part of a larger ecosystem where decision-making and responsibilities are shared among a wide group of stakeholders, and students are active participants in their own learning. In these schools, the learning process and student well-being are also valued in addition to academic performance. There is a recognition that students come from different backgrounds and learn in different ways. Learning happens in a non-linear process with different types of assessments used for different purposes. These schools are monitored no longer just to ensure accountability, but also to encourage frequent feedback at all levels to continually improve the education system. The future, by definition, is unpredictable, but by developing responsive education systems, we can help our children adapt to, thrive in, and even shape whatever the future holds. To find out how you can help too, visit our website.
Okay, so this is just an overview of what we discussed. And this is something that we can think and contribute. And that's where they're saying the school system has to change. So let's move to the next slide now. Okay, so transformation of the nature of classroom. Some of the points here, how will the classroom look like? Okay, now these are points I am giving you. These are points that, like after a lot of reading with me, with Dr. Fateha and myself, and he put few ideas there. These are things that we thought, okay, these are the key things that we are looking at. But we do not know what is the classroom environment that you are coming from. So for you, something would make a big difference compared to what we are trying to list out here, like use of technology to be an enabler in education, virtual and augmented reality. Sometimes augmented reality will be something that you can even not dream about because you want a stable internet system in your school. You don't want anything else but a stable internet system. So we are trying to put something holistically, given the fact that we are aiming for the future of education. These are the things that will really work. Interactive and activity-based learning, student leaders. Of course, we cannot forget the skills of student as a personal human being and their ability to do things. Teacher as a mentor, mediator, coach. See, you captured the right thing. I'm not telling you anything that you do not know. I'm just letting you to think and reflect differently. Multiple classrooms, same lessons, multiple perspectives. So now our next question, if I'm not mistaken, let's go to the next slide. Just a minute. Okay, we'll come to that. So can you let me go to the previous slide 1 minute. So what we are trying to say here is, what we are trying to say here is that it is very important that we should not fall into this set of list and go to your school and start fighting that, oh, I was in a professional development training and the expert there or the teacher there told me that this is important so that we move to the next level. No. What I'm trying to say is that you need to reflect what is your school looking like, your classrooms looking like, what will be the basic thing to move from one level to the next level. That is very important for us to use and manage. Okay, so that's where we are going to reflect on that. So please make sure that you will have that understanding and then start taking this. But in this one, few of the things you can already do. Like you can really think of outside co-curricular activities. You can think about how you will use student leaders to engage in effective way of developing things. So technology and virtual reality and all technological digitalization, that's where it becomes challenging because it has a lot of money investment into it. Now, the next slide is talking about what is curriculum revision looking at. How do you want to? So this was classroom. Next is curriculum. So more than teaching, previously we used to say teaching and learning. Now it has become learning and teaching because learning is the center of everything. It is our student we should focus on. Once we know what they have to learn and what they should acquire, and in the video they use the right word, what are we wanting to shape them into? Based on that, we design our teaching methods and teaching methodologies. So that's why learning becomes the center. Education for personal revelation and multiple perspective, data-driven teaching and assessment of reality. Data-driven is very important. A group of teachers in India would like to use some data from a successful venture that was done in Finland. So another group of teachers in Finland might be thinking, oh, something successful happened in Korea, I might use it. Research for teachers also is important. It is not to publish papers, but to take researchers' ideas and embed. This is where data comes into play. Also, ask questions. Talk to your students. Many a times we don't use our students as our source of information and ask them for information that will help us to change our things. We think, oh, students always ask for more. They are asking too many questions. They're asking. It's not true. Ask them the right questions, they'll give you the right answer. And that should be the data you will use to build on it. Openness in new learning and new learning experiences. This is what I'm trying to say. Transparency is very important. Nothing is hidden. Why is is teaching and assessment and everything is considered to be so much secrecy and complicated. We need to think openly and together. I'll give you a success story of myself. We were doing a curriculum revision around 3 years back, right after the Industrial Revolution announcement. We embedded future work skills competency into our first year education for university students. Okay. During that time, when we started the process, first thing we did was we took a lot of alumni students who graduated, who are working in the market. We asked them, what do you think are the 4 things that you would have liked to see different when you were a student? And you went to work and you decided when you were working, you thought, I wish I had this experience when I got this when I was in university. Keeping that in mind, we crafted our curricula. Now we are every 2 years, we have to update it because the things are changing. So this is a clear example, and we need to drive the system and education based on that. Then only we'll be able to go to the so-called concept of future of education. Last, collaborative knowledge creation is very important, which is working together as a team, learning beyond conventional notions of time and space. Yes. Now, virtual learning becomes very impactful. Wherever you can impact it, we can utilize that. Let's go to the, Now, we want your statements here. How teachers can become transformational. Like if you want to make that, you want to be the change agent, what will be the things that it's how. You can write a sentence, you can write just this one, like only statements. We need it quickly, which will help us. No, type in here. Use the code and type in here. Okay. I'll just give you 1 minute because I know that it has been tiring. It's been almost an hour or so, more than 2 hours. So I'm behaving like a normal teacher, exceeding time. Okay. So 20 seconds more, 54 participants, but even I'm getting great feedbacks, which is very important. Okay, excellent, excellent. So do I give them 20 seconds more or 30 seconds maximum? Thank you, dear. I like the statement made that broaden your perspective and self-reflect yourself. Okay, done. So definitely we are going to use this and to tabulate something. It's nice to read from you, your perspective, and we are thinking together in the right direction, I believe, which is going to be very effective and useful for you. So I like statements like open-mindedness, culturally aware, ready to listen, so on, so on. So let's move on because I really have run out of time. I'm sorry about that. So let me go to the next slide. So taking your point, if you see that these are the points that we are talking about, and the last statement I want you to read, not limited to. You have captured few very key important points just now. You reflected on it. I was only able to reflect around 6 different points. then I kept thinking that, why am I limiting your thought process? You may know better, you may know more, so you have more ideas. So we are saying, these are the things, these are the points that we are shared. Best practices, build mentoring relationship, observe peers, self-reflect and refresh skills, model subjects usefulness, demonstrate caring nature beyond teaching, not limited to. That means what we are saying is a transformational teacher's nature and behavior is not just this 6 things. There are so many other elements to it, many of which you just captured and many more to come, many more. And this is something which is always live. This keeps changing. This is something that may reflect, that you need to reflect and keep looking at it. That's why, you know, the quick attention I got from one of the observations was, it's very important to self-reflect. It's very important to self-reflect. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. Readiness, yeah, this is like, we know, this is an open debate, and if any education sector, future education sector or education sector people see me, they will definitely go into question me on what I'm trying to say. This is a challenge that all educationists and teachers face, which is, how are we able to prepare ourselves and be ready for it? And where we have got challenges from the contribution, professional contribution of enhancement in the area, technological enhancement, professional development training given to you, what is expected out of you with the given limited capacity, the kind of students you receive into the classrooms, what is the way of building things. So as I gave you the example about the, you know, food, that's what happens here. Anyway, still few points. Future learning and teaching, big changes ahead. The things that we need to be carefully attending to is connectedness, collaborations, and co-creation. We are collectively collaborating with one another and co-creating. Schools cannot fight with one another and be at competition. Teachers will have to engage in forums and get together with one another. These are things that is very essential for growth and to learn. So I would say that virtual platforms become more effective because we are able to learn and engage with one another. Anywhere, anytime learning is happening. Learning is not within the 4 walls of a classroom. Every moment learning is happening, and this is the thing that we need to embed in the students, that they continue with the learning process beyond the classroom environment. Customization for learning, first approach. This is another thing. Who is taking this? We need to have a customized approach based on that. And here, if I elaborate a little bit, though I'm running out of time, I don't have a problem. I will just explain it here. Now, what do you mean by customization of learner first approach? This is the kind of students you made an assessment and then you design something that will be based on that particular group of students. But the same will not be implemented in another group. So the teacher becomes a person who is now delivering in like a group or individual or a particular approach of a model within models. So if you are teaching 8th graders, within 8th graders, you may have different customized model you will create for the learners. So this is what we are trying to say. Put testing to test. You used assessments, you use different techniques. You think your students have learned from you. Are you sure? You need to test yourself. Schools should teach to the extreme, not to the mean. You know, we should not be, this is where I gave you the example of the curricula. This is what I have to teach, I have to finish it. What is beyond that? Anyway, next is school is a sole learning place. School cannot be the sole learning place. Learning happens everywhere. These are basic things, but very key things. Let's go to the next one. State your future learners. How do you think, and how do you think your future learners will look like? Again, this is question 98129110. Let's participate. Go on. Start. You have to state. Okay, it's a statement again. Nice. Critical thinkers, problem solvers, risk takers. So we have already got it. So we have the idea clearly. So it is there. So it is not a problem at all. Okay. Good. Good. Innovators. Okay. So no, we are not extending the time because we are no. She's already set up the time. Now we'll stop it because I think we are running out of time. We will stop voting. But what is the key thing that is elaboratively coming and like most of you have captured is the problem solving, critical thinker, innovator, independent learners. So if you take a sum of all these things, we are asking the person to go into self-learning mode where the person is able to take risks, solve problems and move on. Okay, excellent. So let's move to the next one. Again, this is where we are talking about to succeed in future, students must be able to. So now we are talking from a student's perspective, where we are saying that personal evaluation of the information and develop informed opinion. If I was doing this session with students, okay, not with the teachers, if I was doing this session with students, I would have definitely asked them about things that they don't want to do in class. What do they think are the things they would like to? They will all say, I don't want to do test. That's for true. All of them will say, why are we doing this assessment? Why should we do this assessment? Can't you give us all? We need to go away from the grading system and say that it's the purpose of the education that needs to be embedded. And this is where the parents come into play. The parents are key role players here, where they are like, they think that it's value for money. They're paying the fees. What am I getting for it? But that is not the way how it should be. So this is where we need to get, and the teachers play a very challenging role here, because you are dealing with students coming from varying and culture, varying environment, varying value system, and then they are all put in a system where you are expected to mold them into a particular way of approach. So that's where the challenge is always there. However, this is something that you need to first start with, where you are starting to engage them to reflect on their opinions, give opinions. What are the things they need to develop? Informed opinion, not like they can come and say anything they like, but they should talk factually. So allowing them to debate, allowing them to question, allowing them to find answers is very important. Articulate informed opinions through writing, presentations, debate, very multiple communication. So you already had highlighted communication skills. One of the biggest challenge I have seen here, that many of them writing, oral or written communication is really lacking in our students, where they are not able to express. Now, whom to blame? One, technology themselves, because everything they're getting and they're getting. But we can engage them by creating assessments and creating research-based reflections, where they start engaging in speaking up and giving the ideas and saying that this is how things are. Next one is use imagination to produce, create expressions. And as I started in the session, there is no right and wrong in this one. We do give them grades, but you can give them grades on their levels. And you need to encourage the students to be more imaginative and creative. We always have a feeling that only in visual arts class, in theater, in music, in drama, in performance art, only we are able to imagine and create and express. No, the fact is that these liberal arts courses or liberal arts can become a medium by which we can engage the students in an advanced science or math or physics, chemistry or social science classes. It is possible. So this is where integration of different kind of concepts come into play, and this is becoming a very strong area of pedagogical development recently. Combine technical skills and creativity to perform and experiment and so on. Exactly. Taking risk, as we already said, is the biggest area that students need to know. And unfortunately or fortunately, I will not use the word unfortunately, fortunately, it is in the hands of us education is where we can make a big difference. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. What happened? Yeah. So this is the skills, from the previously in the industrial revolution chart where I showed. I'm not going to explain this. This is just to tell you the top 10 skills, what they expected in 2020. 2020 is gone. COVID took it. 2021 has reached, but still this is very effective, required for future jobs. We talk about things that is happening in the market for 2025. I know the type is very small because these are images, but you can go and Google it. You will find it. This presentation also you will be getting, so you can read from that. This is where we are heading to 2030. So see the transformation, see how they are. If we get them to take decisions, fluency in ideas, active learning, learning strategies, originality, system evaluation, can't we do this in schools? I think it's easily possible. We just need to think and reflect on how. If we can do that from schooling system, we are getting ourselves ready for education 4, using school 4, using education 4 system with a proper equation of things. So this is the next point, and let's go to the next slide. Yes, never ending and always required 7 skills, even up to 2050. I know that I'm not sure if it 2050 I will see. No, I will not see. I will be quite old enough by that time, or I'll be gone. Anyway, what we're trying to say, even in 2050, 7 important skills that always students will need to know: curiosity, imagination, initiative and entrepreneurship, agility and adaptability, critical thinking and problem solving, effective oral and written communication, collaboration across network and leading by influence, assessing and analyzing information. Tell me any of this which we have not discussed. And you need to ask yourself, are we applying this in some form, basic, advanced, medium level, in my approach of teaching, so that I can get this out of the students? Are we? So, since lack of time, I'm not going to engage in the chat room, but a question to reflect on. Okay? Yeah, this is very interesting. I'll play the video, and this is where we are going to ask you for some task. We want you to give, after this video, some points, which we will create the video and send it back to you. We will email it to all of you to show you how your future classes will look like from your feedback. This is not future classroom. This is just an example of it, okay? Okay, so we are going to ask you to share and give your ideas. in points, how do you want to make your classroom look like? And what is interesting is that right now you will not get an answer. You will give us the points and then we will design it for you and send it to you later on. Right now we don't have time. It will take time to take all your ideas and good. So quickly go and give us the ideas, please. And you know, don't imagine too much, but imagine still. This is going to be a real task because now you were sitting in a room in a particular way and now you're thinking, oh, what am I supposed to enter? What am I supposed to enter? Space should be the limit. Okay, all computerized. Fine, fine. Go fast. This is a little bit complicated, but it's nice to get your feedback. Workspace, internet, okay. Less student, more space to apply, okay. We'll just give you 1 minute only, not one more than a minute. Okay, fast. We're getting some good idea. Excellent. Okay, so we are coming down with the countdown, 10, 9, 8. Zero. That's it. We have 132 response and we'll be coming up with something interesting. So wait and watch. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is where I conclude my session by stating 2 veterans. Unfortunately, one we lost in 2020. The statement is very important. If the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside, the end is near. Read again. If you want to read again, read it yourself and think about it. That means if we together and our students or the world is thinking at a slower pace, I'm talking about the education system here, at a slower pace, and the change that is happening technologically, information-wise, knowledge burst, the availability of resources and so on is over and exceeding, and we are under exceeding, we are coming to an end. That should not happen. We should always either be together or par. We should be above it. And the fact is that all innovations or anything that happens is through education reformations and new education approaches. It is not that the old traditional method is always the way things are. I'm not denying that it is required, but we need to advance. So this is the first one. Second one, if we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them from tomorrow. There is nothing to think more about it. If we are, that's why, as I said, 21 years of experience in higher education with students, with teachers. I've taught in teacher education colleges. I have seen that if we stick to what we did yesterday, and my yesterday means few years back, and we think, oh, this is the approach. And I told you my example as an admin, I lost touch in teaching for almost 3 years because I was not going to class. I was doing admin, only taking care of rest of the things. But I went in and I started seeing it. I'm like, oh my God, I have to spend more time, triple the time that a regular teacher would do in advancing and upscaling things, because that's how the reformation and changes have happened. So keep in mind, you are teaching the students, and teaching should change to learning. You have to focus on that. So I conclude with that. Thank you, all of you. This is my thank you note. I'm stopping to share. If you have any questions, please ask me here, or I'm letting you know as the last, when you have finished all the 5 modules, the last module I'll be coming to meet you again as a conclusion sequence where we will be wrapping up the whole session and we will have open discussions on things. We will give you opportunity to reflect. And again, another thing, being truthful is very important. You did not get something out of it. You thought you would have, this topic should have been done in a better way, or this topic should have been embedded. We are willing to seek your reflection. That way it will give us ideas to enhance and upskill ourselves next time. Okay. Are you wanting to put questions here or in chat room? Okay, I'm getting thank you. I appreciate. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, before I stop, I have given you, we can stop sharing. So we are stopping to share. Thank you, all of you. Now, I have only one thing that I would like to say is that we have given you a session, we have given you assessments in Moodle. Somebody had asked that question on chat. Are we using Moodle? So it is a Moodle platform. It's on chat. The link was given to you. Anytime you are available to ask, because tomorrow Ms. Rubina will be there. So we will have a part, so you can still ask questions regarding previous session. Okay, where do I submit this one? But we have put some assessments for you, and assessments are not brain boggling, mind boggling or anything. Just go, it's reflection, capturing that particular essence. So today we have a case study, like an article, a simple article. Read it and give a 500-word reflection on what it is. This helps us to say that you were engaged, which you were engaged, and I'm happy and I was excited to continue the session till this time because of that reason. But it will give us an opportunity to see that you have completed your task, and which is what you will want from your students, right? So keeping that in mind, please reflect it. Please engage yourself. Finish the I cannot call it as an assessment, a reflection module you have to do. Please do that also. Meanwhile, I would encourage you to participate in all the modules. It will be useful, which will give you a completion certification, which is going to be useful because EDU, as you know, is a certified university, which will always be useful for you. Any questions? I'm willing to take it now. You can raise your hand. You can put it in the chat box. I'm willing to take it. I can give you another 3 to 4 minutes, and I can stop it. If you think it is not required, I'm happy, but I would be happy to support. I'm here. Thank you, Hashmik. And he's sending greetings from Finland. Thank you.
Dr. Sreethi, thank you for the wonderful session. There are 3 participants who raised their hand.
Okay.
I will allow them to talk.
Yeah. Unmute, and one by one, please speak. Please go ahead. Who wants to speak? Unmute yourself and speak, please.
Miss Joanna Poval, you can unmute and start to talk.
Joanna, please unmute yourself and speak. I'm not sure. Maybe you need, if you're on Zoom, you need to go to the lower edge and you will find yourself, see a button called mute, and you just need to click on it. It will unmute.
I think
technical issue.
ask other one, Doctor.
Yeah. Yes, Ms. Amna. Ms. Amna, you can unmute yourself and speak.
No, I finished. I was only by mistake. My hand was up. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, there is a question from Ayman. Let me answer this. Sarah, I'll come to you for 1 minute. There is a question from Ayman asking, does this mean that there will be a reflection for each end of session or one at the end? So the thing is that for each module, there is a reflection that will come, and all the session reflection, and this is very simple, 100 words. You will just have to submit it on 7th of February because we'll be releasing the certificate to all the participants based on what level they are by 15th of February. That is a decision made. Because it is a professional development certification program. So naturally, we expect a reflection from you. So that's where it is. Yes, Miss Sarah, you can speak. You can unmute yourself and speak. Sarah? I'm not sure what is the issue. They're not able to unmute her, so. There is another person.
Yes.
Yes, Sarah, please go ahead. Speak, go ahead.
Okay, what I have to do?
No, you raised your hand, you had a question. Sarah?
No, sorry, it's my mistake.
Okay, no problem at all. See, this
Okay,
is
sorry for that.
no issues at all. We have another person who has raised his hand and the name is written in Arabic. That's why I'm not able to read it. You want to speak, please unmute yourself and go ahead and speak. Or you also by accident did?
Miss Iman.
أستاذة إيمان إذا بدك تحكي كونك رافعة إيدك تقدري بس تعملي unmute للمايك وتحكي.
Okay. In between this, Dr. Fateha, we are getting a lot of comments from students that they are not able to enter username and password is wrong.
The issue, Doctor, I want to explain this. And we have, as you said at the beginning, we have two types of certificate. Completion certificate, in which they have to submit the reflections for each module, and the deadline for that will be 7th of February. After that, they will get their certificate, or attendance certificate. It's if they attended just the module without doing the reflection. So they will be receiving. And also what we will do, inshallah, we will send them an email. As per the IT, they have to use the same email that they registered with and use the username and the password that we put, which is EDU2021, to able to enter to the portal and to get the link. But we will send them an email as a reminder also soon.
Okay. So this is one thing, whatever email that you have registered, and today we know how many of you participated, you have logged in. So we will be sending you email to the email address that you have registered, in which you will be able to capture. And your username is your email address that you have used to register, and password is EDU2021.
Yeah. And there is a question about the deadline also, or it's an individual submission. Feel free, either you want to submit it individually or as a whole, but the deadline for submission is 7th of February. So we don't accept anything after 7th of February.
7th February. So today is 20th of January. So you have all the way up to 7th to submit this one, but the last module finishes on 31st and you only have 7 days. So don't show students' behavior. I always say, do not procrastinate. Okay, if you don't have any other questions, I'll let you all go. I'm sorry for taking extra time and I hope it was very valuable. We will be sending out survey for feedbacks also, which will be very helpful for us. And I'll be happy to meet you all on 31st, the last session, where I'll be wrapping up and discussing with you, and we'll have platforms. Please give your valid and very critical opinions on things throughout all the sessions, because that helps us grow. And I assure you that the education department will work, and we will build a session or a webinar for preschoolers, kindergarten, lower school students, and what are the issues and all those things. We'll do that soon. I assure you that. Thank you, all of you. I hope everything is fine, and please allow me to conclude this session. Thank you, all of you.